Rachel Sobitz, who is our guest speaker for today. She works for relink.org as the Director of Community Engagement. She's passionately committed to helping others find the resources they need to improve their quality of life and help them thrive. She loves to go to community events and share about how relink.org is a free database filled with over 16,000 resources and growing, I have a feeling, right? And for those not familiar, relink.org is a faith-based nonprofit serving across a spectrum of care for addiction recovery, anti-human trafficking, and incarceration reentry, and includes commonly searched basic needs like housing, food, clothing, employment, and mental health. Glad you could join us here, Rachel. Enjoyed talking with you over dinner, or at least over my dinner. And please come on up to the front, and our folks can see you in person and online.
You want me to pull that relink up now, or you want to wait?
I think I'll just wait just a second and just talk a little bit about relink.
Great.
I'm at the age where now I have to wear a reader. I can't see the screen. So I'll share a little bit about relink.org and what our foundation is. So Relink is funded through the Dalton Foundation, and the Dalton Foundation is the Dalton family. They own Relink Medical, which is a medical company that buys and sells medical equipment. So the Dalton Foundation has two functions underneath it. They have relink.org is where I work, and then we have the Haiti Health Network where they send supplies and other medical needs to Haiti and other countries. So we have both of those under the Dalton Foundation, but the Dalton family had 5 children, and they obviously had a great life, and they had this business, but they had one of their children that was struggling with addiction. So as they sat down and were trying to find resources and looking for detox centers and rehab centers and just the continuum of care that their child would need, it was starting to get very frustrating because they were calling places and this place wouldn't have any beds, and then they were calling somewhere else, and so they were starting lists, just making names of different places that they could call for help. And so eventually they had the thought, what if we just had one central database that was like one giant phone book in the state of Ohio that had all of these resources in it? So in 2018, he was talking to Governor DeWine, and they were thinking about putting this project together. And they started with addiction recovery resources. And then, as many of you know, because you're in the reentry space and helping people, addiction seems to weave through a lot of people's stories and troubles, but it's not the only resources that people need help with. They don't just need rehab centers and detox centers, but beyond that, they need employment, they need affordable housing, they need to food pantries and free furniture, clothing, transportation. So it just kept expanding and expanding. So since 2018, they've added, like he mentioned, and I'll demo a section for reentry. We have a section for human trafficking. We have a section for mental health. Last year during this time, one of our highest search things in Relink was counseling for teenagers. So we can kind of just see where the trends are, and we just keep adding as people have suggestions, or if there's a big need that we see that people need to find. We just added a section for bus tickets because a lot of people are having transportation issues getting places. So we do try to stay on top of the needs and what people are requesting, or what if they can't find something readily in Relink. One thing, I do have cards that I'll pass out that has relink.org on the front in English, but you can turn our entire website into Spanish. So, and I will show that up in the right-hand side. You can make it Spanish. One thing that I always tell people is when you are on relink.org, it's anonymous. So we have no idea who's looking at what. So if you suggest that somebody go on relink.org, we have no idea if that person's looking at a suicide hotline or if somebody, so people can know that they can anonymously get help. Kids can get help. People who are being trafficked can go in the human trafficking section. We're not tracking anybody's information. Also, it's your free to be listed on. So if anybody has a nonprofit or an organization, they have to be registered in the state of Ohio. We just don't put people that say they run something off their back porch or something like that. So everything is registered in the state of Ohio, but it's free to be a provider on there. So when your information is listed on there, you can go in and change it and it doesn't cost anything. And people always ask us like, well, I have to give you my name and email. Well, that's just to connect you to that particular provider. We don't even sign you up for our newsletter. If you don't want to be signed up for it, like we do nothing with anyone's email address. We do not sell them. We do not use them. We don't do anything. So the point of it is the whole passion of this project was just to help people. It's a Christian foundation. The family that funds the foundation loves Jesus, and that's why they do this work. So I am going to put my readers on and I'm going to share the screen down here, and I'm going to start with the home page of Relinked. Let's see. There we go. Is it? You might have to help me make this bigger because I don't have, this type of.
Not to get stuck like we did last time.
So this is the home screen when you go to relink.org and you type it in. And a couple of things that I will point out on the home screen is we have this up here, the provider login and sign up. So that's if anybody has wants to list your church, food pantry. We have churches listing like their Celebrate Recovery meetings or youth group meetings. We have a lot of people who are looking for that. So we have everything from churches listed to different organizations that are nonprofits listed to for-profit rehab centers. Everybody that has any type of resource to offer that is within the state of Ohio that's registered can be listed on relink.org. We do have over 16,000 resources listed now. And like the pastor said, it keeps growing, which we're thankful for that. We have someone in our office who does data and she edits the data 40 hours a week. We are currently on all the tablets in the prisons and we're working on getting on all the jail tablets. So we just want to make sure that anybody who is getting information while they're incarcerated to make a reentry plan isn't calling somewhere that's no longer in existence or the hours are wrong, because that would just be discouraging for them and we don't want that for them. So what we're going to click on is Find Help Now, but I just wanted to point out down below that we do have our webinars listed, and we have different webinars that we do every month. So we do a couple of webinars per year on reentry, a couple on addiction recovery. We do a couple of human trafficking. This month, our webinar is on the last Tuesday of the month at 2 o'clock, and it's going to be on sextortion. There's a family in Cleveland who is a very well-educated family. They only had one son, and their son was thinking he was talking to a young girl through social media. It was actually someone in another country. And they were asking him to send inappropriate pictures. When he did that, they said, if you don't give us this amount of money, we're going to show your parents, your school, your teachers. And he ended up committing suicide. And so that is going to be a webinar that we have. We just had a webinar last month on social media and youth and how people are preying on kids through that. So we have different webinars listed, and that's just all for awareness and education for anyone who would like to watch them, testimonials or people who use Relink. And then we do have our newsletter, which comes out quarterly, and that has different information, education in it, and also our webinar links. So we're going to click on Find Help Now. And when you get to this page, there's going to be the option to search by city, zip code, or county. Now on the tablets in the prisons, you can only search by county. That's how they have it set up. On the tablets in the prison, there is no external link. So when I show you a resource, we're gonna see where you can click on their website. You can't do that in the prison. They've locked everything down to only show the phone number, the address, and what that provider offers. But the nice thing is, if you're a support person and you're saying you can go on relink.org and find different resources for your reentry plan, they can't contact them necessarily because not all of these providers are going to take collect calls or are don't have the email system, but maybe they can ask you, I've found these 3 resources for when I get out. Can you please contact them and see if they have beds open, see what their program entails? We've had people that came up to us before. We go to the resource fairs in the prisons and we'll tell people, have your support person pair up with you and they can help you, that say, I don't have a support person. Who am I supposed to ask to help me with this? And then that just breaks my heart because I know that the caseworkers in most prisons have 200 to 300 people on their caseload. So they can't, they want to. The caseworkers are amazing. I've met many of them before, but they can't possibly, if every person brings them things they found on Relink, contact them all the time. So that would be a nice way if you're writing letters back and forth to say, is there something in particular you found on your tablet or a different an organization that I can check into for you? I'd be happy to do that. So what county are we in currently? Montgomery, okay. Scroll down here. We will pick Montgomery so that we're doing it according to the Manhattan regs. So that we're doing it according to what they see. So then they'll just click on the county, or if you were doing it and you wanted to do it through city or zip code, you can do that. And you can select a mile radius. There's different mile radiuses to choose from. So for the sake of example, we'll start in re-entry and I'll kind of show you. One of the big things that we point people to is the groups and coalitions that are in the area. So this is going to be under reentry. You can click on the groups and coalitions, and we are always telling people to contact their local coalition and speak with them about what they can help them with and resources that they might know. So that's one of the big things under reentry. Up here, I'll just show you real quick. Here's where you can change it from Spanish to English, English to Spanish if you'd like. So back under reentry again. We're gonna have the options of housing, employment, education, support services, and like I just showed you, the reentry community groups and coalitions. So under housing, we're gonna have housing hotlines, reentry housing, affordable housing, home furnishing. So this would be different organizations that have furniture that's free. One of the things that I like to point out under housing is they don't have this, but you do. This is on the external version. This is not on the tablets. But when you click on the Ohio Housing Locator, they keep all that information up to date. We don't. And when you click on that and you put in a zip code or a city, it'll give you all available affordable properties, how much they are for rent, pictures of the properties, stipulations of who's allowed to rent them. So that's helpful too, that you can look at that when you're helping people find affordable housing. And then down below, you'll see a couple of different groups here that are listed. If you click into one of them, let's do this into the future. You'll see that the different organizations have the option of putting their logo and their information. So they have their address, their email. This is where the inmates are not going to have an external email address. They can't click, I'm sorry, website address, but you can click on that. Down below is going to be contact information, which they can see that. So they might give you, I'd love for you to contact this organization. I see that Greg West works with the organization. Can you please call him or can you please email him? There'll be hours of operation. And then this information, the services offered is what they pick to be listed. So whatever services they offer are there. And then they can also put if they our fair chance employer. And then this book box is a free text box that they can fill in whatever information they want to say about their particular organization. So this is how each page looks in relink.org. They have the information that they'd like to have on there. And when you are on, let's see, housing, if we go back to that real quick. When you're on the page where these are listed, if you click on these boxes over here, it's going to give you the option to print, or you can send it in an email. And this just isn't going to show these titles. It's going to show all the information that's under each organization. So you can kind of make a little mini directory and print it out for yourself to look at, for them to look at, for you to highlight, to make notes on. That's going to just show line by line all the information under each provider. So those are the different categories that are in re-entry. One of the categories that is the most searched in relink.org is basic needs. So under here we have food, that'll list all hot meals and food pantries, housing. So we do have redundancy in that there's affordable housing under there, again, re-entry, addiction, because we don't want people to just go into one category and not find what they need and just quit. Like, we want it to be amongst the different categories so that they can easily find what they're looking for. We have clothing, free furniture, healthcare, community support, financial assistance, which sadly right now, a lot of places that were giving financial assistance after COVID are struggling with having the funds to give it out. But we do have places listed under there, transportation assistance, and like I said, we did add that free bus passes so that people know how they can have bus passes to get to wherever they're trying. A lot of times they're trying to go to a job interview or something like that, so we have that listed under there. Gonna go back to the main screen again. So under behavioral health, this is going to be counseling services. So we have all of those listed there. Emergency and crisis is emergency numbers if anyone wants to self-harm, or emergency numbers for anyone who might be a victim of human trafficking. Those are all listed under there. Family services, we have different options for childcare and things like that under there. And addiction recovery, this has been a really widely searched category lately, not only with people who are not incarcerated, but people who are incarcerated. I met someone at a Christian men's treatment center in Akron that he's at Restore, and he said, "Hey, you're the Relink lady." I said, "Yeah, I am." And he said, "You came to Lorraine and you were telling me about relink.org, and I went on there and I knew that when I came back out, if I didn't go into some type of program, I would just go right back to my active addiction and the old habits I had." So he found Restore, and the judge told him he couldn't be released to Restore until there was clearance. So he stayed in Lorraine prison 2 extra months just to go to the rehab center. And he got in, but now he works for them. His name's John, and he's on staff. So it was just funny because he's like, "The Relink ladies here." I'm like, "Yes," because I go in the prisons and I give demos and show them how to use it. But we've just noticed that's a bigger trend now, that people are going from incarceration to treatment facilities instead of just going back to where they were at before, because they know they need to have different habits and different ways of handling things, that they're just going to fall right back into what they were doing previously. So in this treatment, we have the detoxification facilities, residential inpatient treatment, outpatient treatment, partial hospitalization. But a lot of the people who are incarcerated are looking under those residential inpatient treatments. And we do have these different searchable items up here. So you can search if a rehab center is female or male, if it is for youth, juveniles, older adults, if there's a payment option, if they have click on it, private insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, what would qualify them for these different rehab centers. And then you'll also have, if there's veteran-specific services, if they take women who are pregnant. Certified is usually through like CAR for the Adams Board, so that's who certifies the different programs. But it's similar to what we were just looking at. Let's see, this Joshua Recovery. You can see the address, the contact information, and then this says it's a faith-based organization established as a nonprofit corporation having the mission to set people free from drug and alcohol addiction. So it'll give the information that they've put in that free text box, as well as this other information up here. There's a sliding scale. They do help pregnant women. So that's one of the categories that we've been seeing people looking at a lot, is under addiction recovery. That's been going up in our searches. So those are the ways that you can look through relink.org. I'm just checking the time. Yeah. To find different resources, and like I said, to help people. This is what we're always encouraging, and that we can be a support person and help contact the different organizations or places for them. One thing that I can show you under reentry. So under employment, a lot of people ask us, are you listing all the fair chance employers in Ohio? No, we can't. There's a lot of them, which is good. Right now is a great time for people to get employment because there's so many jobs open that they're taking those restrictions of their record off, but we're not listing all of the people that have the fair chance employment. What we're listing is mainly providers who help with the different ways of contacting these employment. A lot of these places, you know, they'll do help you make a resume or job readiness skills. So a lot of these are nonprofits and different organizations that help find employment. And then up here we have that banner that clicks right into Ohio Means Jobs. The last time I looked on there, there was 149,000 jobs available in Ohio right now under Ohio Means Jobs. So this is not going to be on the inmates' tablets either, but I feel like they have some access to Ohio Means Jobs through their tablets. But that's one way too, if they're telling you a specific type of employment that they're looking into or they would like to find, you can click on Ohio Means Jobs through our website and you can start searching and helping them find different employment options in the area that they're returning to help them as well. And the same thing applies if you click on Ohio Means Jobs from our website or that Ohio Housing Locator. We're not tracking it. We don't know. We don't get any money per click or anything like that. We're just, everything that's on here is just to help people find resources easily and quickly. And if you're on here and you notice that your church doesn't have something listed, we're happy to edit that or have you edit it. Or if you notice, hey, I know there's a food pantry that just opened up the road, it's not on there, please let us know, because that's our goal, just to make sure that every resource in the state of Ohio is in one place. And we just say that it's 3 clicks in 30 seconds. So I used to be a software trainer and I trained resident doctors on using software, and I had to do all these extensive trainings. And then when I came to Relink, I'm like, this is great. This is so easy. You just click a couple clicks. So I feel like it's super user friendly for anybody. But if you ever get hung up or you have a question, our email is info@relink.org. We're always happy to answer questions. Or if somebody said, hey, I remember you were talking about that category, where do I find that? You can always contact us and ask us. We have a team of 4, so that's it, but we're always happy to help. And then I'll just show under this behavioral health, we have treatment and we have counseling. So we have different types of counselors listed: group, individual, family, trauma informed, art, music, equine therapy, sexual violence counseling. So those are the same type of thing. If you click into individual counseling, you'll see all the different individual counselors in the area, and then they'll be the same information that you can then click on the provider and you'll see everything listed. So it is really nice that they have all the information listed for you, and they provide this text information here, so should be easy to find and easy to use.
And when I learned about this, and it may, that probably was you.
Yeah.
On community. or-
Yeah, Jamie had me,
Yeah.
last year, yeah.
now, but I think I asked about it, that we, you know, we could be on there.
Uh-huh.
The church has not only Hope Ministries, but Dayton Folks.
Yeah.
There's a training program. So
Yeah.
can you show us how we could, you know, be added. as
Yeah.
Providers.
So what you would do is when you click on that provider login sign up, you would just have whoever you would want to edit the information would just put their email address in and create a password. And then when you click login, that's going to give you well, this is when you're actually signing up. This is login is when you already have your email and password. But if you click on register, you'll put your name, your email address, and you'll create a password. And then this is where you would put your church name. And once you submit it, then it goes to our office, and Onita, the lady I was saying that does the data, she'll connect you to the page, and you can either scroll down, it just shows everything as checkboxes. So here's the address, here's the phone number, these are the services you offered. But if you look at it and you're like, I don't know this, I don't know what these checkboxes are, she's happy to do it with you, walk you through it, change it. Me or John are happy to do that too, but it literally just takes a few minutes, and then whoever has that provider login then can just change it from if there's something different that is happening, or a different phone number, a different time. But yeah, it's super easy. Just click on that provider login and she'll help walk you through it. When people create a new login, then she'll call you or do a Zoom and just ask you what's your organization do. I'd be happy to help you set this up. So yeah, it's super easy. Onita. It's Oneida. And it's funny because she's like, it's not Oneida, it's Onita. Yeah, but she's really sweet and she's always happy to help. So does anybody else have any questions? Hopefully it's easy to use. We don't have an app on your phone, but one neat thing is when you go to relink.org on your phone and you're in the browser, there's a little box with an up arrow. If you click on that, it'll save relink.org to your homepage or any page on your phone, and then it converts it into an app. You can see it just like you would an app. So it converts it into reading it like an app. So we never created an app in the app store because it costs more money. So we just did it that. And you can just make it pin to one of your pages. And then when you click on it, the optimization is like an app and for a cell phone. So you can do that on your
Do that
phone.
from your cell phone.
Yeah.
Go online on your cell phone.
Yeah. If you go into the browser, like you were just looking up something on a website. We can see it. And then you just would click relink.org up here. And then when
And
relink,
you can move the
is it in the thing?
little window down that lets you.
Do you want me to stop
Participants.
sharing?
Well, that would work.
Yeah. There, my big. And then right down here is a box with a little arrow, and when you click on that, it's gonna give you the options down below. Of where you can add it as a bookmark, which I already have it, so I won't, but when I click add as a bookmark, then it's on my home page and it shows up like this. And then when I click on relink, it just comes up, and then you can just scroll through it, and it's optimized to be like an app. So everything you can just see easily like you would on relink.org. So you can just click through it and everything is right there.
Have just phones.
Yeah.
They have laptops.
Yeah, so that's one way. People ask us all the time, why can't I find the app in the app store? Well, it would have cost us a lot more money to create an app and put it in the app store, so we just suggest that people do that and then saved us money as a foundation. Does anybody else have any questions? Thank you for
Yeah,
having me. Yeah.
Susan.
You may have touched on this at the beginning, but is there some way that you guys vet the organizations on the website?
We do as if they're registered in the state of Ohio, but we don't beyond that, because what we found was, I used to work for Rehab Ministries, which is a ministry that helps sex trafficking victims, and we had a safe house, and we would have girls that came to the safe house, and we would give out surveys, and they would put they hated it, and it was because we took their cell phone and they couldn't have a cell phone. And then we'd have other people that said they loved it. So it wasn't like they were accurately giving a review of what the program was. It was just how they felt at that time or on different conditions. So we don't vet anything beyond if they're registered in the state of Ohio, just because we don't have any particular measures that we feel like we could follow. We've had the
No,
same
I
thing with.
just meant like, so that someone who's like a trafficker
Right,
couldn't,
yeah. No, they
couldn't
can't
make
because
up an organization and,
no,
Yeah.
they have to be registered in the state of Ohio, and then when Onita gets that provider login, she'll connect with people. She does one-on-one Zooms to meet with people. We check websites out, we check email addresses out, so we do all that before it's listed on there. That was a good question. Anybody else have any? Thank you so much for having me. I hope you find it to be a useful resource. And if you ever have more questions, just email us info@relink.org.
You said your card?
Yeah.
While you're grabbing those cards, I'd like to say thank you. And I will also let you know, in case you saw me doodling over on my pad over there, I just met a woman from the community, not from the church, and determined that she really would benefit from a psychiatric evaluation. But this being my first year here, I didn't know what resources to find. So I went to relink.org. That's relink.org. And I found a faith-based community organization that has psychiatric resources. So it works.
The search box is if it's a faith-based organization.
Right, which is nice. There's a little code I noticed for women, for men and women, faith-based, very, very helpful. So thank you so much for joining us and sharing. I mean, I've heard relink.org, but I've never gone to the site. And I personally am really impressed just by how user-friendly it is.
Yeah.
And just it's amazing what's available. I also, while I was tapping over there, found out places in our community where we can get bus passes for people.
Yeah.
So that's another valuable thing. So many different ways. Isn't it a wonderful thing?
Yeah.
That we have so many different organizations in the community, and also organizations that help us find our way, because it can get really confusing, right? And where do you go? And I can imagine, especially for a returning citizen, what a valuable tool this would be in helping them land with both feet and move forward in a wonderful way. So I really appreciate everybody for being here, both online and in person. Grateful to Dayton Cooks, who provided us with food today. And is it time to close in prayer unless you have final announcements, Amelia?
I just want to add that, your suggestions for how we as Hope writers, can make use of this and talking with the folks we're writing to, especially when they're, in the process of thinking about reentry. That's a great idea. I had not thought of that.
And I know that the ODRC says they want reentry to start the minute they're incarcerated. So even people that have long sentences, if you can help them start to look things up and give them that hope and encouragement, it just brightens their day that they know, hey, when I get out, there is a place for women and children, or there is a place where I can get this type of a job. So
Right.
depending on something.
I'm not sure if your voice carried, Rachel, so I'm going to paraphrase.
Yeah.
What she shared with the group is that there's a mentality, think about reentry from the first day that someone is incarcerated. But through Hope letters, this is maybe a resource that we can pass along and provide, so that even before they're returning, in a sense, they can start finding resources and developing a plan. So very helpful guidance there. I'm going to invite us all to pray together, shall we? Holy Creator, we thank you for all of those lights in our community, people volunteering, agencies, organizations, ministries serving in our communities. But on this day, Lord, we thank you and we're grateful for people like Rachel and folks that do work similar to relink.org or connect with them. So that not only is the help out there, but we're grateful that there are people who are, as their ministry, helping others to find those resources. Bless us in the ministry that we do as we continue to work with returning citizens and folks that are currently incarcerated. And again, upon all those names that we prayed for, and all those folks, especially those without support and without help, that you would bless them and help them to feel your presence. We pray these things together in the strong name of Jesus. Amen. Thanks all for coming. Take care, our Zoom friends. Glad you joined us. I'm saying, oh, let's see. There we go. Right back at you, Susan. Take care, Jennifer and Susan. Have a great night. Bye-bye.